Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the last session of the day, and I think also of Tame Bay Live. Thank you very much to everyone who's presented so far, and I'm now delighted to introduce David Hill, who is the Head of Marketing to Habu, and he's going to be talking about the channel agnostic fulfillment and how that can help you to grow your top line and your profit margin for merchants. So, David, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, Mike. I'd say I'm well, but I'm struggling a little bit with a cold at the moment. So the voice hopefully will last me through to the end of this session. And like you say, it's the last session, I think, of Tame Bay Live 2. So thank you, and thank you to the organisers, Sophie, Chris, and Quill, for putting on another great event. We're really looking forward to hopefully joining them at in real life Tame Bay events later this year as well. So really looking forward to catching up in person with all of them. And I hope for all the merchants and for all the attendees of this event, they've found the particularly insightful. I know that I did last year and also this year as well with the sessions that I've joined. And also to make some really great connections, and also, I'm going to do my very best to end the event on a strong note as best as I can. So as Mike says, this is about how you can grow your business with channel agnostic fulfillment. So before we step into that, just a bit about Habu and who we are. So we've only been trading since 2017, so very much in our embryonic stage, but we've experienced, certainly over the last 2 years, exponential growth, particularly, as I say, over the last 18 months to 2 years, and whilst that's been partly fueled by the pandemic, the shift in consumer behaviour has, from bricks to clicks, was already really well established well before someone decided to take a bite out of a bat. So just to give you a bit of a summary of who we are then. So we're an e-commerce fulfillment provider, and what that means is whereas merchants will generally focus on most of their efforts in attracting customers, enhancing listings and their online stores, and optimizing that whole customer journey, we handle everything from the moment that the order is placed. So that means free and fast integration with marketplaces, which I'm going to come on to later on in this presentation, and marketplaces, online sales channels as well, social commerce. So it's everything from inventory management, picking, packing, and posting products to your customers all over the globe, and also handling returns as well. And that happens in real time on our dashboard. So it's all very much tech driven, software focused, and our solution is used by merchants of all shapes and sizes, really to help them grow their business and fulfill not only their products but also their ambitions. So, and just quickly a bit about me. So I've been with Habu for a year, just over a year now, actually, to help deliver on our UK and continental growth plans. And before joining Habu, I worked in financial services, and I think it's such an exciting time to be in e-commerce and social commerce, just because there's so much innovation, innovation in the tech space. I can just see the real contrast, I think, between the kind of old school kind of banking and financial services world and the kind of trajectory of growth opportunities globally that e-commerce and social commerce brings. So I think it's a very, very exciting time for everyone that's involved in online selling. So over the next 30 minutes or so, providing my voice holds out, I'll be talking about all things order fulfillment and how adopting a truly channel agnostic approach to fulfillment can really help you grow your business on a global scale. So what I'll do is first of all step through what is outsourced fulfillment, who can benefit from it, how the end-to-end process works, the when and the why also of outsourcing or choosing to outsource your fulfillment, and then in a nutshell, what is channel agnostic? What is a channel agnostic approach, and how can that really work for you and benefit your business? And if time allows, and if my voice allows, then we might have some questions at the end. But I'm also happy to take away any questions that you might have and answer them via the Totem platform. Just get in touch or drop me an email. My email will be on the presentation as we go through. So, pardon me, let's get started then. So, first of all, get the right side, there we are. So, what is outsourced fulfillment? Essentially, it's trusting experts in fulfillment solutions so that you can spend more time and focus on the things that you actually enjoy doing, like growing your business. So by outsourcing, you are handling over most, if not all of the responsibility for that order process to the experts. And what that means is that you're handing over the responsibility for the inventory management, the picking, the packing, the posting of your products to customers all over the globe via a global courier network. And traditionally, there have been quite challenging barriers to accessing fulfillment, particularly for the micro SMEs, those social commerce sellers as well, and small businesses, due to high setup fees, costs, ongoing costs as well, have traditionally been quite expensive. That's been really inhibiting for growth, and limited choice. Now we're seeing a huge amount of choice when it comes to fulfillment providers. Now, there's a lot of disruptors in the market who have really been game changers for the fulfillment market, and that's helped to challenge the established crowd. And this has helped to what I would term as democratizing e-commerce. It makes it more of a level playing field. But it's not only e-commerce; it's also social commerce as well, and we'll come on to that a bit further in the deck. So it's very much about leveling the playing field for the small and the mighty, and providing more and more online sellers with the platform for growth. And because of the advances in fulfillment technology, merchants can see in real time the end-to-end journey from and also keeping on top of billing, which is very important as well. So this can also enable this outsourcing of fulfillment can also enable sellers to look at bespoke options like packaging if they have certain brand guidelines, or they've got an ethos or a real importance on sustainable practices. So that is something that can be achieved through outsourcing fulfillment, and also using a fleet of either hybrid or EV couriers, depending on what's important to you. So the best fulfillment providers will be able to do all this through a single dashboard, and that gives you complete visibility from clever inventory management, and that really helps to get your products into the hands of your customers at scale and certainly at pace. So who can benefit from it? Well, in short, a number of people can benefit. Anyone who's selling goods via online stores, social channels, and/or marketplaces, within reason, of course. Fulfillment centres quite rightly won't be fulfilling illegal goods or anything like that. But what you have to do first, however, is really think about to get the most out of outsourcing. To really hone on what's important to you. You might have really complex fulfillment needs that take time and require specialists. So a good example of that, and a recent example of that, would be COVID test kits. There's a lot of the kind of picking and packing element of that process takes a lot of elements and bringing them all together. So they have to be all those items within that box have to be fulfilled in a certain way and packed in a certain way. And on top of that, because of the time pressures involved in getting those test results back, the expert fulfillment partners can help with priority shipping and also handle the returns, because that's something that obviously one of the biggest important things about COVID test fulfillment. You also need to think about where your focus is. So what I mean by that is it growing your business in existing territories, or is it looking to expand it into new ones? is it also about getting valuable time back so you can focus on your marketing strategy, or even launching new products and widening your product line? So there's a lot of there might be competing focuses where fulfillment can certainly help to alleviate some of the time pressures for that. And your growth aspirations and ambitions as well will also be front and center. So activating fast scalability into new territories might be something that is high on your agenda, and growing top line sales and revenue. So it's not only, come back to this, it's not only about fulfilling orders, it's also about fulfilling ambitions. So how does outsourced fulfillment work? So I'll keep this very high level, as I think this slide really just tells a story. So some fulfillment providers like us, like Habu, offer online sign up to get you started, but we understand that fulfillment can often be an unknown beast for a lot of people. So there will be humans at on the end of the line, such as business development managers, key account managers, to guide you through that process, and that's fairly typical. So they'll go through the process, understand requirements, and once you're ready to get started, you can choose your products from your listings. And that's where channel agnostic fulfillment really comes into its own, because what that enables is true multi-channel fulfillment, and we'll really touch it on that channel agnostic approach as we go through the pack. If you're selling on those marketplaces, but also the social commerce channels as well, social media platforms such as Facebook, or should I say Meta, and Instagram, there are commerce managers that can connect with outsourced fulfillment platforms via APIs, and it's very easy to get that set up and get instant results off of that. You'll then ship your goods, and the goods are checked in at the fulfillment center, which can be free of charge. Some providers allow for free goods in, for instance, and your customers will then continue to order as they have been, but everything kind of happens in the background. So you'll be just safe in the knowledge that you've got experts on the case to help fulfill these orders, and for extra peace of mind, you'll be able to keep on top of your billing as well. So in terms of when you should be considering outsourcing your fulfillment, I mean, there's a number of different reasons why you would do that. So there's kind of milestones and key events, I think, in the life cycle of a seller, which can influence when the right time is to press that button to outsource. So when your focus is firmly on growth and building your brand, fulfilling orders yourself can take up a huge amount of your time, which might otherwise be used on executing really winning marketing strategies and plans, and campaign planning ahead of peak season demand, for instance. So the DIY model for fulfillment isn't always scalable for merchants that are growing fast and don't already have a robust supply chain in place. Your strategy might also involve breaking into new territories as well. And the beauty of channel agnostic fulfillment is that it's one of the big levers that you can pull to really maximize the potential that would lie. It is essentially retail without borders, is what channel agnostic fulfillment can unlock. On top of that as well, you can use fulfillment providers, expert fulfillment providers, to help deal with spiky peaks in demand. And this doesn't just have to be about that holiday season where you can expect there to be elevated and consistent level of orders coming through. It could be anything from the COVID test kit provider that I mentioned, an example there, but also fashion retailers who are launching new clothing lines and seasons and things like that. So there's a number of reasons why your demand in orders might be fairly spiky, and certainly outsourcing can alleviate those pains. And typically what we see as well is that there are a number of ambitious entrepreneurs out there that are trading from the spare bedroom, from their kitchen, from their garage, and rapidly run out of space. And instead of hiring somewhere bigger on a lease at a warehouse where you're tied in for 12 months, you can look at maybe a shorter term fulfillment provider, just to test out how that's going to help for you. And then importantly as well, that last point about if you're facing a growing backlog of unfulfilled orders, customer service is I don't need to tell everyone, but it's of optimum importance. If you can really, if you can ensure that you're getting on-time delivery, that you've got a much better chance of repeat business, repeat customers, and that's, you know, having a backlog of unfulfilled orders can result in a less than optimum customer experience, hinder your net customer growth as well, and place you in a vicious cycle of always catching up. So the top reasons to outsource, we've kind of already gone through there, but you can see at a very high level, saving money, saving time, expanding your reach, I think is very important. Tech enhanced fulfillment as well makes it super easy now to use a fulfillment provider compared to before. Excellent customer service, as we just mentioned. And then you can focus on your product lines, your reach again in terms of new markets, not only new territories, and then growing your brand, and everything from managed returns as well. So it really does take away a lot of the kind of legwork that's involved in selling and fulfilling orders. So what do we mean by channel agnostic? Essentially, in its simplest terms, it means there is no difference in the fulfillment treatment or cost, regardless of the sales channels and marketplaces that you use and are connected with that fulfillment provider. And there's a number of benefits to this approach. It all starts really with the integration. In a world of API integrations and powerful innovative tech, it makes little sense to charge fees for applying an integration to some channels and not for others, which is what has been happening in the market. And it's increasingly, as is increasingly the case, fulfillment providers are software driven. So make sure when you are looking at choosing one that the provider that you go with removes any of those unnecessary costs. And then going forward as well, one of the big benefits, and this leads me on to my next point, a truly channel agnostic fulfillment approach, the big benefit of that will be to remove any penalties that could be associated with a certain channel versus another one. So there could be penalties, elevated charges for the actual picking and packing, the fulfillment part of it. So this can include anything from storage fees right the way through to shipping costs. But having a channel agnostic fulfillment solution in place will guard against that and protect your margins, which is very important. And on top of that as well, you might also experience a difference in the priority order for fulfilling orders with one preferred channel over another, which creates quite an uneven playing field. So you might find that you actually receive a huge amount of orders from channel X, but because channel Y is the channel of preference, that takes priority over the orders that are received from the other one. So something to be very mindful of when looking at a fulfillment provider. And I think this is a massive point, the last one, about enhancing, and it enhances retail without borders, unlocking global opportunities. So what we find, for the ambitious entrepreneur, right the way through to the larger enterprises, adopting this channel agnostic approach, what it means is that you can unlock global opportunities without reducing your margin. You have more chance of your products being seen and purchased by marketplaces that have a certain prevalence of market share, a higher market share in specific territories. We've got a number of examples of that. You've got Mercado Libre in the Latin American market. You've got Bol.com in the Netherlands. You've got a growing market online sales channel in Spain, for instance, with PrestaShop. So by being able to bring all of these marketplaces and online sales channels together in one full stack fulfillment solution, means that you are unlocking those opportunities, maximizing your sales growth, and enhancing your overseas retail operation. So there's a number of great benefits to adopting this approach when it comes to fulfillment. So as I mentioned, protecting your margins, very important, especially when you consider there's a lot of costs associated with being a merchant and selling goods. So there's everything from listing fees to transactional fees through to marketing costs, and also the unit cost as well. And that can all strip away at that margin. So if you're able to locate a channel agnostic fulfillment provider, at least that will go some way to protecting your margins. Entering new territories at pace, this presents great opportunities for really fast scalability, which is enabled, by a multi-channel ecosystem across borders. So what we're seeing in various markets globally is that there are market nuances and popularity of certain platforms over some of even the most established of marketplaces and sales channels. So there's an awful lot of opportunity out there for someone who can really execute a channel agnostic approach really well. And then you can also take advantage of sales trends. I mentioned before about PrestaShop in Spain. That's been growing rapidly. So has Bowl.com. Bowl.com saw growth, 8 times growth over the course of 2021. So you can take advantage of those growing marketplaces by connecting all of those into your kind of sales landscape. And also by adopting this approach as well and using an international fulfillment network, what you can do to protect margins once again is lower your customs and excise charges, and it positions your products much closer to your customers as well, so that can delight your customers by having speedy and efficient delivery as well. And as I mentioned a few times, and I think this is very important, maximizing your sales opportunity. Multi-channel selling is definitely the way forward, because it opens up a number of doors, avenues, and you're not reliant on just one or two platforms that can drive the top line sales for you. So a channel agnostic approach to fulfillment really makes that work as best as possible. It's about optimizing and maximizing your sales opportunities there. And I mentioned about marketplaces and online trends, online sales trends. So this is an example from the Netherlands. So Bowl.com is the #1 marketplace in the Netherlands, and I know that the headline sponsor Amazon won't be too pleased with me saying, but it does dwarf Amazon in terms of the e-commerce revenue in dollars from those figures from last year, with a growth rate of 8 times in 2021, and projected growth rate in 2022 of 4 times. So it's a really great opportunity to unlock several popular markets in specific territories, if that is what your ambition is. And just to kind of round up on Bowl.com, 11 million active customers in the Netherlands alone, so it represents quite a sizable marketplace that you can go after. And that brings me, I know it's very, we've got a bit of time, and I've probably got some voice left. That brings me to the end of my session. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope you've enjoyed Tame Bay Live as a whole. And I'll hand over now to Mike. We can probably take a few questions if you want, Mike. I think my voice can last for a little bit longer.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. Yes, no, thank you so much, David. I think there was a lot there that I found very, very interesting, especially about what you were saying about multi-channel approaches and diversifying income streams. And yeah, no, I found that very, very interesting. Okay, so we do have a question that has come in. Steve Dearman has asked, are you able to handle serialized stock?
Serialized stock, yes, we can. Our operation team are much better positioned to talk through that. So if I can take that one away, I can certainly get them in touch. Was it Steve?
Yes, Steve Dearman. Yeah. Maybe if that person wants to drop by the Habu booth and contact you in the showcase.
Yeah. If we can look at those specific requirements, we can certainly see if we can find a solution for you.
Okay, that's absolutely perfect. I think that's the only question that's actually in the room. So if anyone has any other questions, please ask now, and we'll try and answer those. No, thank you very much for your presentation. Tell me, what is your one takeaway and what your one recommendation that everyone can take from this session?
I think it's really if you are an ambitious seller, it's really to not be put off by what can be quite a daunting prospect when you outsource your fulfillment. It can seem quite complex, but it's actually a lot easier now than ever before because of the advances in technology, to find a fulfillment solution quickly and in different territories as well. It's one of the best ways, I think, that you can scale your brand globally, is to use a fulfillment provider that has a global reach, but also is able to connect multiple channels across the globe. And we see through our research, through our data, that there are so many different marketplaces that have strong share of sales in those territories, that it's a massive opportunity that people should take advantage of.
Absolutely lovely, thank you. And we have another question that's just come in. Do you offer bonded warehousing?
Bonded warehousing, that is something that we do. So yeah, we can again, I'll get our operations team to be directly in touch to find out the specific requirements.
Did you want to explain perhaps what bonded warehousing is?
Sorry?
Did you want to explain what bonded warehousing is?
So from my, and this might be slightly off, but bonded warehouses. So are we talking about high security storage for goods? Is that what the person is saying?
It just says what is bonded warehousing. So I think it is bonded warehousing if it's customs sealed warehousing, I think.
Yeah, so we have we do have that operation in the UK for now, and we'll look at expanding that throughout UK, throughout continental Europe, providing it is what I think you are talking about, because we've got a different term. I believe it is about high security and for goods. But yeah, happy to take that one away.
Okay, that's absolutely perfect. Okay, well, there aren't any more questions at the moment. How's the voice hanging up?
It's a bit croaky. It's really hard to not cough, but got some water to help me through. So hopefully that didn't come across too. I hope it didn't spoil the quality of the presentation. But yeah, I'll probably rest the voice now.
Okay, that's absolutely wonderful. Okay, so right, well, thank you very much for your time today. I mean, there are no more questions, so that'd be good. So thank you very much for joining me today, David. It was absolutely lovely connecting with you and finding out about that. As I said, I found it very, very fascinating, hearing about channel agnostic fulfillment. It's not something that I've come across before. So learning about that was a very interesting topic to learn from as well. Sure, no problem at all. Thanks for hosting, Mike. A sterling job as always. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so thank you very much. And that is now, I think, the last session of the day. I just wanted to very quickly do a very quick wrap up and say I'd like to offer my personal thanks to David Hill, obviously from Habu, for presenting this last session, even though he's not been feeling too good today. So thank you very much for that, David. I'd also like to thank Rob Stanley from Getida. That was a really fascinating presentation. Oscar from Amazon, and obviously Jacob Cambridge, and latterly Ellie from Avask. I'd like to invite Chris Dawson back up to the stage now, if that's okay. Chris, are you there?
Yes, I am. And Mike, on a personal note, I'd like to thank you for being co-host today on behalf of Avast. I've seen some of your presentations, an absolute sterling job. And indeed, I'd like to thank our co-hosts from the other 2 days, which was Bobby from GFS and Sasha from Avalara, as well, of course, our title sponsor, Amazon, for the event. It's been an absolutely fascinating 3 days for me, meeting marketplaces, starting with Amazon, of course, but also Frugo, eBay, Alibaba, Enable All, and so many partners like David that we've just been listening to from Habu that can assist with your business. And across such a broad range of topics as well, from Mike, yourself at Avast, as well as today's sponsor on the regulation taxation side, Habu on the fulfillment side, but also everything from live streaming and selling on YouTube to optimizing your marketplace listings and more general e-commerce help and advice across the board. Now, sadly, this is the end for Tame Bay Live for January 2022. So before you actually sign off the platform, I would encourage you, visit any of the booths in the exhibition area that you want to. But before you leave the platform, do two things. Download your delegate bag. That will ensure you get any PDFs that you've requested. And also download your contacts. If you've made contacts with any of the presenters, the sponsors and partners, or indeed any industry colleagues, if you download your contacts, you can do a simple export of them, and that will ensure that you can carry on the conversation after Tame Bay Live. One thing we have been asked for constantly in many of the sessions throughout the week is, will you be able to watch the videos after the event? And the answer is yes. If you give us a couple of days until next week, we'll have all of the videos live, both on the Tame Bay Live platform and on tamebay.com on the website. So rest assured, if you missed any sessions, you'll be able to watch them. And indeed, if any of the sessions you were watching, you want to capture any of the statistics, information, contact details of presenters, all of these videos will be available at some point after the weekend next week. So it's an exciting year coming up. Today is a landmark day in what's been hanging over all of our heads for the past almost 2 years, which is COVID. From today, we're out of emergency measures Plan B and back to Plan A. So for many, that means you'll no longer have to wear face coverings in shops. Although having said that, many shops are still requesting that you continue to wear face masks, and indeed on public transport. So things aren't back to normal yet, but it is a sign that we've passed the latest peak of the virus, at least in the UK, and things are coming back to normal. And we're already looking forward to events later in the year. We've got the e-commerce football cup coming up in June, and we'll be looking at some more in-person live events and getting back out to meet you and inviting you to come and meet us and many of the partners that have been presenting this week. Now, on a final note, there's one other group of people I really want to thank, and that is all of the retailers that joined presenters on Tame Bay Live this year to share their real life experience from the coalface, as it were, from retailers actually that are out there doing the business and experiencing everything from today it was selling in China, but throughout the week, various partners have come along talking about their experiences of peak, like Patrick and Hannah from GFS. So a huge thank you to those for taking part in Tame Bay Live as well. But for now, this is Chris Dawson, Editor-in-Chief at Tame Bay, signing off for Tame Bay Live in January 2022. A huge thank you for watching, and we look forward to meeting up with you again soon. In the meantime, as always, follow us on tamebay.com for the daily e-commerce marketplace and channel news, and we'll look forward to connecting with you there. Thank you and have a good evening.